Tom Hanks sneaks into the Beverly Hilton hotel, dressed as a bellhop at midnight, carries luggage for 4 hours to get close to a director staying there, and when hotel security finally catches him and asks, "Who are you?" his answer doesn't get him arrested. It gets him breakfast with the director and his first movie role. This is the story of a $6 uniform from a thrift store, 4 hours of carrying bags for strangers, $73 in tips Tom earned while committing what could technically be called trespassing, and how pretending to be a bellhop taught Tom more about acting than any class ever could. Sometimes the best auditions don't happen in casting offices. Sometimes they happen at midnight in hotel lobbies when you're carrying a stranger's luggage and hoping security doesn't recognize that you don't actually work there. Sometimes the role you play before you get the role is the one that matters most. Los Angeles, California, March 1981, Thursday night, 11:47 p.m. Tom Hanks is sitting in his car outside the Beverly Hilton Hotel, 1974, Datsun, engine ticking as it cools, radio off, just Tom, just silence, just the glow of the hotel entrance lighting up his windshield. Tom is 24 years old, been in Los Angeles for 6 months, moved from New York. Theater wasn't working, auditions led nowhere, money ran out. California seemed like the answer. Hollywood, film, television, different opportunities, different possibilities. 6 months later, Tom is learning the same lesson. Different city, same struggle. Auditions, rejections, waiting, hoping, nothing breaking through, nothing clicking, just the endless grind of showing up and being told no in 100 different ways. Earlier today, Thursday afternoon, Tom's agent called, small agency, struggling like Tom, taking anyone, trying everything. The agent said, "I heard something. Frank Marshall, producer, big deal, working with Spielberg. He's staying at the Beverly Hilton this week, scouting locations, meeting actors. I can't get you a meeting. He's not taking submissions, but he's there, room 847. If you could somehow get to him." The agent didn't finish the sentence, didn't need to. The implication was clear. If Tom could get to Frank Marshall, if Tom could get 30 seconds of his attention, if Tom could make an impression, maybe something happens, maybe a meeting, maybe an audition, maybe a chance. But there's no legitimate way in, no appointment, no invitation, no access. Frank Marshall is not taking meetings from unknown actors with small agents and 0 credits. Tom could call the room, could wait in the lobby, could try to ambush him, but none of that works. Security, assistance, layers of protection. Important people are insulated from desperate actors. That's how the industry works. Tom could give up, could accept that he doesn't have access, could wait for legitimate opportunities, could do what you're supposed to do, follow the rules, respect boundaries, be patient. But Tom has been patient for 2 years. 2 years of following rules. 2 years of legitimate opportunities that led nowhere. 2 years of waiting for permission that never comes. So Tom decides he's not waiting anymore. He's not asking permission. He's creating access, even if he has to do something crazy, even if he has to break rules, even if he has to pretend to be someone he's not. Tom is going to get into that hotel, going to get close to Frank Marshall, going to create an opportunity where none exists, not by force, not by deception, by work, by becoming part of the environment, by blending in so completely that nobody questions whether he belongs. Tom is going to become a bellhop, not a real bellhop, a fake bellhop, but fakes so convincing that nobody notices the difference. Earlier today, after the call from his agent, Tom went to a thrift store in Hollywood, searched the racks, looking for something specific: hotel uniform, bellhop, jacket, anything that looks official, anything that gives the appearance of belonging. Found it. Maroon jacket, gold buttons, worn but clean. Looks like it came from a hotel. Maybe the Beverly Hilton, maybe somewhere else. Doesn't matter. Looks official. Looks legitimate. Looks like something a bellhop would wear. $6. Tom bought it, went home, tried it on. Fits reasonably well. Little loose in the shoulders, but passable. Add black pants, white shirt, black shoes. Tom looks like a bellhop. Not perfect, but close enough that in dim lighting, in a busy lobby, in the chaos of midnight check-ins, nobody would look twice. Now it's 11:47 p.m. Tom is sitting in his car, outside the Beverly Hilton, wearing the uniform, watching the entrance, watching the real bellhops, studying their movements, their posture, their interactions, how they greet guests, how they handle luggage, how they move through the space with the confidence of belonging. Tom is preparing, not for an audition, for a performance, the performance of his life. 4 hours of playing a bellhop, 4 hours of not getting caught, 4 hours of getting close to Frank Marshall without anyone realizing Tom doesn't actually work here. Midnight. Tom gets out of the car, straightens his jacket, takes a breath, walks toward the entrance. Confident, purposeful, like he belongs, like he's done this 1,000 times, like he's just another employee, starting the night shift. The Beverly Hilton lobby is beautiful. Marble floors, crystal chandeliers, Art Deco, elegance, expensive, prestigious. The kind of place where movie stars stay, where producers make deals, where careers are built and destroyed. And Tom Hanks is walking through it, dressed as a bellhop, fake bellhop, unauthorized, technically trespassing. One security check away from being thrown out or arrested. But Tom doesn't think about that. Thinks about the role, about the character, about being a bellhop. Not pretending, being, method acting, total immersion. Tom is a bellhop, has always been a bellhop, belongs here completely. Tom walks to the luggage area and sees real bellhops, 4 of them, night shift, tired, bored, waiting for guests. Tom stands near them, not too close, but close enough to blend in. Close enough to look like part of the team. A guest approaches, middle-aged couple, checking in late, 3 suitcases. The woman looks exhausted. The man is frustrated. Long flight, delayed, just wants to get to the room. The real bellhops don't move, too tired, too jaded. Not their problem yet. Guest hasn't officially checked in, not assigned to them yet. Tom moves. Steps forward, smiles. Professional, warm, good evening. Welcome to the Beverly Hilton. Can I help with your luggage? The man looks relieved. Yes, thank you. Room 634. Tom takes the luggage, 3 heavy suitcases, loads them onto a cart, follows the couple to the elevator, makes small talk. Where are you from? How was your flight? First time in Los Angeles. Genuine conversation, not scripted, not forced, just human connection, just kindness. They reach the room. Tom brings the luggage inside, sets it down carefully. The man reaches for his wallet, pulls out a $5 bill, hands it to Tom. Thank you. You were very helpful. Tom takes it. Thank you, sir. Enjoy your stay. Tom leaves, returns to the lobby, $5 richer, and something else, something more important. He did it. Carried luggage, interacted with guests. Nobody questioned him. Nobody stopped him. Nobody realized he's not actually a bellhop. Tom is invisible, and invisibility is access. For the next 4 hours, Tom works, really works. Carries luggage for arriving guests, delivers packages to rooms, helps an elderly woman find the restaurant, directs a businessman to the conference room. Tom does everything a real bellhop does, not to hide, to serve, to be useful, to earn his presence. And guests tip every interaction. $5, $7, $3, $10. By 2 a.m., Tom has earned $73, more than he's made in a week of auditions, more than he's made doing almost anything. But Tom isn't here for the money, here for Frank Marshall. Room 847, 8th floor. Tom has carried luggage to the 6th floor, the 7th floor, the 9th floor, but not the 8th, not yet, waiting for the right moment, the right excuse, the right opportunity. 2:47 a.m. A guest approaches the desk. Businessman, 40s, angry, loud, complaining to the front desk clerk, "I need my luggage brought up. It's been sitting in your storage for 3 hours. Room 847. This is unacceptable." Room 847. Frank Marshall's room. The front desk clerk is flustered, apologetic, calls for a bellhop. The real bellhops are on break, smoking outside, not answering the call. Tom steps forward. "I can take it." The clerk looks relieved. "Thank you." Storage room. 3 bags. Black leather. Tag says Marshall. Marshall. Frank Marshall. This is it. This is the moment. This is why Tom is here. Tom gets the luggage. 3 bags. Heavy, expensive. Loads them onto a cart. Takes the elevator to the 8th floor. Heart pounding. Hands shaking. This is it. Knocking on Frank Marshall's door. At 3 a.m., dressed as a bellhop, with his luggage. Tom reaches room 847. Stops. Breathes. Prepares. This is the performance. This is the audition. Not in a casting office. Here now, in a hotel hallway. At 3 a.m., Tom knocks. No answer. Tom waits. Knocks again. Louder. The door opens. Frank Marshall, 40 years old, tired, wearing a hotel robe, hair messy, confused. "Yes," Tom says. "Good evening, Mr. Marshall. Apologies for the late delivery. Your luggage from storage." Frank looks at the bags, recognizes them. "Finally, I called about these 3 hours ago." Tom wheels the cart inside, carefully, professionally, sets the bags down near the closet. Frank is watching, not closely, just peripherally, still half asleep, still annoyed about the delay. Tom should leave now, should take his tip, should disappear. Mission accomplished. Got into the room, saw Frank Marshall. That's all he came for. But Tom doesn't leave. Takes a risk, a calculated risk. Breaks character, just slightly. Tom says, "Mr. Marshall, I apologize. I know it's late. I know this is irregular, but I'm not actually a bellhop." Frank's eyes sharpen, suddenly awake, alert, confused. "What?" Tom says quickly. "My name is Tom Hanks. I'm an actor. I've been trying to get a meeting with you for weeks. My agent can't get through. You're not taking submissions, but I heard you were staying here, and I needed 30 seconds of your time. So I bought a bellhop uniform at a thrift store for $6, came here at midnight, carried luggage for 4 hours, earned $73 in tips, waited for an opportunity to get to your floor, to your room, and here I am. I have 30 seconds. Can I use them? Frank stares, completely blindsided, processing. This actor, this stranger, just admitted to impersonating a hotel employee, to essentially infiltrating the hotel, to carrying luggage for 4 hours, just to get 30 seconds. Frank should be angry, should call security, should have Tom arrested. This is crazy. This is inappropriate. This is exactly the kind of stunt that gets you blacklisted. But Frank isn't angry. He's impressed. No, fascinated. This is the boldest, most creative, most committed piece of hustle he's ever seen. This actor didn't just want a meeting. He earned it, worked for it, spent 4 hours playing a role just to get 30 seconds of attention. Frank says slowly, "You carried luggage for 4 hours to get to me." Tom says, "Yes." Frank says, "You made $73 in tips." Tom says, "Yes." Frank says, "You could have just called the room, could have waited in the lobby." Tom says, "I could have, but that's what everyone else does, and everyone else doesn't get meetings. So I did something different. I became part of the environment, earned my presence, worked for access, and yes, I technically committed trespassing. I'm aware, but I'm also standing in your room at 3 a.m. with your luggage, and you're listening. So it worked." Frank laughs. Can't help it. This is insane. This is brilliant. This is exactly the kind of creative problem solving that makes great collaborators, not just actors. People who find ways, who create opportunities, who refuse to accept no access as final. Frank says, "You said you have 30 seconds. You've used 20. What do you want?" Tom says, "I want you to remember my name, Tom Hanks. I want you to know that I'm the kind of actor who will spend 4 hours carrying luggage at midnight to get 30 seconds with you, that I'm willing to work, willing to commit, willing to do whatever it takes, not because I'm desperate, because I'm dedicated. And when you have a role, any role, I want you to think of me, not because I'm the most talented, because I'm the most committed. That's all. That's the 30 seconds." Frank is quiet, thinking, then says, "Okay, Tom Hanks, I'll remember. But right now, it's 3 a.m. I need sleep. Leave your headshot and number with the front desk. Use your real name, not your bellhop name. I'll call you. Maybe not tomorrow, maybe not next week. But I'll call, because this..." He gestures at Tom's uniform, at the situation, at the absurdity of it all. "This is memorable, and memorable is valuable." Tom says, "Thank you. That's all I wanted." Frank says, "One question before you go. How did you know this would work? How did you know I wouldn't call security the moment you told me you're not really a bellhop?" Tom says, "I didn't. I took a risk. But on you being the kind of person who respects hustle, who values creativity, who appreciates someone willing to commit fully to getting an opportunity, I could have been wrong. You could call security right now, have me arrested. But I don't think you will, because you're a producer. You look for people who find ways. I just found a way. To you." Frank nods. "You're right. I'm not calling security. I'm going to sleep. And tomorrow, I'm going to tell everyone about the actor who pretended to be a bellhop for 4 hours just to get 30 seconds. Leave your information downstairs. I'll call." Tom leaves, takes the elevator down, changes out of the uniform in the bathroom, back to normal clothes, approaches the front desk. Different clerk now, shift change. Tom says, I need to leave contact information for Frank Marshall, room 847. The clerk hands him paper. Tom writes, Tom Hanks, Sir, Toriu 135550147. P.S. I'm the bellhop, who wasn't. Call when you're ready. Tom drives home. 4:30 a.m. Exhausted, exhilarated, terrified. Did it work? Did the risk pay off? Will Frank actually call? Or was this just a crazy stunt that leads nowhere? 5 days pass, no call. Tom wonders if he made a mistake, if he crossed the line, if he's now known as that crazy actor who impersonated a bellhop, if he ruined his reputation before he even had one. Day 6, the phone rings. Tom Hanks. Yes, this is Frank Marshall. I have a project, small role. Maybe 5 scenes, comedy about a bachelor party. Not glamorous, not prestigious, but it's a role. You interested? Tom says, yes, absolutely yes. Frank says, good. Audition is Thursday, but honestly, you already auditioned. 4 hours at the Beverly Hilton. Carrying luggage, playing a bellhop. That was your audition, and you booked it. Thursday is just a formality. See you then. Tom auditions, books the role. The film is Bachelor Party, 1984. Not a huge film, not an Oscar winner, but a real role, real screen time, real credit, and it leads to more, to splash, to big, to everything. And it all started with a $6 uniform and 4 hours of carrying luggage at midnight. Years later, Frank Marshall tells the story at industry events. The best audition I've ever seen wasn't in a casting office. It was at 3 a.m. in a hotel room, when an actor admitted he'd been impersonating a bellhop for 4 hours just to get 30 seconds with me. That's not desperation. That's dedication. That's creativity. That's someone who understands that opportunities don't come to you, you create them. Tom Hanks didn't wait for permission. He dressed as a bellhop and worked for 4 hours to earn access. And that taught me something. The best collaborators aren't the ones who follow the rules. They're the ones who find creative ways around them. Tom keeps the uniform. The maroon jacket, $6 from a thrift store. Worn, faded, hanging in his office. Not framed, just hanging. On a hook, like it might be used again. Next to it, a small sign, the uniform that taught me, access isn't given, it's created. Sometimes you have to play a role before you get the role. Sometimes the best audition happens at midnight, when nobody knows you're auditioning. Sometimes pretending to belong is how you learn to actually belong. Tom is doing a Q&A. Film students, young actors. Someone asks, what's your advice for getting meetings with people who won't see you? Tom says, don't wait for meetings. Create access. I once dressed as a bellhop and worked at a hotel for 4 hours just to get 30 seconds with a producer. It was crazy. It was risky. It could have gone very wrong, but it worked. Because I didn't ask for permission, I became part of the environment, earned my presence, and when I finally revealed who I was, the producer respected the hustle, respected the creativity, respected the commitment. That's the lesson. Opportunities don't come to those who wait. They come to those who create them. A student asks, would you do it again? The bellhop thing? Tom thinks, then says, no, because I don't need to. I have access now. But if I didn't, if I was starting over, if I was 24 and broke and desperate, yes, I'd do it again. I do it 100 times. Because that night taught me something more valuable than acting technique. It taught me that the rules aren't absolute, that access can be created, that sometimes the best way in is to stop asking and start working. I carried luggage for 4 hours, earned $73, delivered bags to Frank Marshall's room at 3 a.m., and got a career. Not because I was talented, because I was creative, because I found a way when there was no way. That's the skill that matters. Not acting, creating opportunities. The student asks, what happened to the $73? The tips. Tom smiles. Kept it. Framed it. All $73. In my office. Next to the uniform. Reminder that sometimes you earn your break before you get your break. That work, even work, nobody asks you to do, work that isn't real, work that's part of a performance, that work has value. I earned that money honestly, did the job, served the guests, made them happy, and got paid. The fact that I wasn't technically employed doesn't change that I did the work. That's acting. That's what we do. We work jobs we aren't hired for until someone hires us. I just took it literally. The Bellhop uniform hangs in Tom's office. The $73 framed next to it. Proof that sometimes the best audition isn't in a casting office. Sometimes it's at midnight in a hotel lobby when you're pretending to be someone you're not, so you can become who you're meant to be. Tom Hanks carried luggage for 4 hours to get 30 seconds with Frank Marshall. That 30 seconds created a 40-year career. Not because of the 30 seconds, because of the 4 hours before them. The commitment, the creativity, the willingness to play a role before getting the role. That's not hustling, that's understanding what acting actually is, becoming someone else so convincingly that people don't question whether you belong. Tom belonged in that hotel because he worked like he belonged, served like he belonged, earned his presence. And when he finally revealed the truth, I'm not actually a bellhop, Frank Marshall didn't see deception, saw dedication, saw an actor who understood that access isn't given, it's created, sometimes with a $6 uniform and 4 hours of work nobody asked you to do. The bellhop, who wasn't, became the actor, who is, because he carried the luggage, did the work, earned the access, created the opportunity. $6, 4 hours, $73 in tips, 30 seconds, with Frank Marshall, 40 years of career. All because Tom Hanks understood. Sometimes you have to play the role before you get the role, and sometimes the best performance is the one nobody knows is a performance until you tell them. At 3 a.m. in a hotel room, after 4 hours of carrying luggage. That's not crazy. That's commitment. That's creativity. That's how you build a career when you have nothing but a $6 uniform and the willingness to use it. The bellhop who wasn't, the actor who is, the $6 uniform that changed everything.